everyone, welcome back to my channel. Hope you're all doing well out there. And today we're heading back to remake territory. But before we get into that, do me a favor, like, comment, and subscribe. I very good appreciate that. Also, as always, a shameless plug for my TeePublic store. Leave a link for that in the description box below. And today we're going back to 2005 for a Dark Castle Entertainment remake, House of Wax. House of Wax dropped on May 6th of 2005. I saw it opening night that Friday when this was released. It's rated R. It's an hour and 53 minutes long. Had a really huge budget, especially for the time for a horror movie, of $40 million. And upon release, it made $32 million in America and $68 worldwide. So it was not the hit they were hoping for, especially releasing it during the summer movie season. I guess they were trying to go for the counter programming, because we get the big blockbusters starting in the beginning of May, and they released a horror movie. They might have been better off waiting until maybe August or maybe September or October, but they tried to do something a little different, and they brought it out in May for sure. Now, to direct this film, I'm going to butcher his name, so bear with me if I butcher it. I apologize. Jalom Khaled Sarah. He's been around for a while now, but this was his first feature film. He would go on to do 2 more horror films. He would do Orphan with Dark Castle Entertainment in 2009, and then The Shallows in 2016. In this film, we have Chad Michael Murray as Nick. We have Elisha Cuthbert as Carly. They are brother and sister. Jared Padalecki is in this film as Wade. He is Carly's boyfriend. And Brian Van Holt does double duty here as Bo and Vincent, the demented twins that mess some people up, let's say. This film is a remake of a William Castle film called House of Wax from 1953, but the only thing this has in common with that original film is the House of Wax itself. Other than that, totally different movie. So this is more of a slasher film, and it also takes a lot from another film we'll discuss later on in this review. Basically, we have our group of youths going to this football game in Louisiana. They want to take the shortcut in their GPS, and they're taking the shortcut, but then they get detoured off this road. And they end up camping overnight. And during the night, somebody messes with Wade's car, and he's unable to start it the next day. So Wade and Carly stay behind and go get this guy who they come in contact with, who they find throwing dead animal carcasses into this pit, is nice enough to want to drive him up to this town of Ambrose. And so he takes them, they go into town, it's deserted, there's nobody around, and they stumble upon Bo at this church during this funeral, and he says he's going to help them out. And pretty much from there on out, it's a game of cat and mouse. And their friends come back, everybody gets killed except for Carly and Nick. They make it out alive. Not before a lot of crazy ass shit happens, and the House of Wax melts, because it is literally a house of wax. And during the film, we discover that all the people that are wax figures in this town are actually real people underneath the wax that Bo and Vincent kidnapped and turned into these wax sculptures. And that's pretty much the end of House of Wax. So what to like about this film? I think the cast is pretty good here. I think at the time, this kind of got a lot of shit. And the reason why was Paris Hilton's in this film. And she's okay here. She's not the best actress, obviously. They surround her with much better actors, thank goodness. But she does okay for what she's given to do, which isn't a whole lot. I mean, she was the first actor signed on to this film. And it was obviously stunt casting. There was no reason to hire Paris Hilton. They could have found any blonde actress to play that role. It didn't have to be her. It was stunt casting because she was popular at the time for her reality show and whatnot, which I don't even remember the name of it. I never watched it, but I just remember the commercials in that. So I think this movie got a lot of shit because of that. I think people were sick of Paris Hilton at this time. She was all over the place, and it was just kind of like too much. And I think they even tried to sell this movie with her at the forefront. I think that was too much. Like, I don't think people, especially in the horror community, gave a shit that Paris Hilton was in this movie. I know I didn't give a shit. I just went to see a horror movie. I didn't care that she was in it. It didn't mean nothing to me. But I think this movie got a lot of shit at the time. If I remember, I saw this opening weekend. I remember reading an article in Fangoria about it. So I was excited about it because I liked some of the other Dark Castle movies before this. This was the 5th film they made up to that point. I think the effects are really well done. There's a lot of practical effects. and especially with the kills, there's some gnarly kills. They do throw the gore around at moments, and I love when they find Wade and they start trying to help him peel the wax off. You can see his skin pull away, and you can see his muscle tone underneath. Really cool stuff, really demented stuff. I mean, this movie really goes dark, and I have always enjoyed it. I've enjoyed the tone. I think it really lends itself. It's definitely a slasher film. It's definitely like an 80s style slasher film with just more elaborate sets and more, some cool practical effects. There is some CGI, and especially in high def, you can see some of the CGI there. I do have it on Blu-ray. I just don't have it in my hands at the moment. Actually, I decided to get my Blu-ray. It's right here. You can get this on Amazon. I got it on sale for like 18 bucks. Some of the Dark Castle stuff that they did on Blu-ray, they have on sale right now for $18. So I think, the kills, there's enough kills in the movie. I like the story. I like the thought of this town in the middle of nowhere that's kind of been forgotten about. That's kind of blocked off from the rest of the world. It's kind of in the middle of nowhere. These two brothers are, although at the end of the movie we find out there's a third brother who's the same guy who gave him a ride to the town that we don't see again until right at the end when Carly and Nick are getting taken away in the ambulance. They see him sitting on the bed of his pickup truck. But at the end of the day, I like this movie. Is it perfect? No. Is it the best slasher film ever? No. I think it goes on too long. I will say that. 1 hour and 53 minutes long. I think this is about 10 minutes too long. They could have tightened this up a little bit. But I do like what they go for here. I think Elijah Cuthbert's really good here as our main final girl. Chad Michael Murray, he's good here as the brother, although he comes off as super angry for the first 20 minutes, 30 minutes of the movie. And then he tones it down as the movie goes on. I like his performance more after he goes back to town and finds his sister being held by Bo. And then he kind of softens and he's really protective of his sister. I like that part of his performance more than I do like the beginning of the movie. In the beginning of the movie, he's kind of a dick for no reason. I like him as the movie goes on. He gets better, at least in my eyes. Jared Padalecki's good here. He doesn't make it through the halfway point of the movie, but he's good here. And Brian Van Holt, I think, is strong as the two brothers. And he definitely playing two different roles, but they're both very psychotic and very much ruthless killers. This supposedly takes place in Louisiana. They shot this in Australia. Again, this is the 5th Dark Castle film up to that point. They started in 1999 with House on Haunted Hill, which I do like quite a bit. And then in 2001, they came out with 13 Ghosts. And in 2002, they had Ghost Ship with that awesome beginning scene, which a lot of people think is the best part of the movie, and I would tend to agree with that, although I don't hate that movie, but the beginning is definitely the best part of it. And Gothica in 2003, and then this one in 2005, which was the 5th outing for Dark Castle Entertainment. At the end of the day, up until that point, I think this is a pretty good, out of the remakes of this period, this is a pretty good one. It's a solid slasher film, but I will say, this has a lot in common with a movie called Tourist Trap. If you've never seen it, check out Tourist Trap. Except for this doesn't have the supernatural elements that has. But this is very much close to Tourist Trap. Almost a remake of Tourist Trap, you could say. If you've never seen it, or if you ever decide to watch Tourist Trap, you'll get what I'm talking about. This sticks very close to Tourist Trap. This could almost be considered a Tourist Trap remake. But at the end of the day, I still like this movie, and I would give it an 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10 for House of Wax. What are your thoughts on this film? Leave a comment down below. Let me know. Hit the thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button. Share this video. I greatly would appreciate that. That's it for this review, but until next time, bye.